All right. So, first day of school. This is Monday, so my work is kind of hectic. This is the most hectic day of the week for me at work. And I just got off another meeting, but that's done. So, yeah, I'm excited to start this. And yeah, come join me. Hi. Thanks, Rensis. Yeah, like Rensis, I'm from the Philippines too. I'm currently working as a software developer for an Australian startup. But before, I was also a career shifter. I spent my first decade as a professional as an electrical engineer. I think like Yusuf here. So currently, I've had almost 7-8 years of experience in software engineering. And what got me interested specifically in OPIC is in the past few years, I got concerned about how AI is being progressed, how AI is being used indiscriminately, and how it's being developed without much regard for the impact to humanity and society. So I'm looking into how I could, make a dent or impact in AI and data governance. And I think Opet would be a great fit for that.
With what you believe, so this is ethics, what your clients or what your work require, and what you want your work to look like at the end.
Good morning! It's 7 a.m. in the morning, and I never get up this early. The earliest I often wake up is around 10 a.m., but often around 12 noon. Never this early. But I have a lot of things to do. On the first day of my first class in OPET, they already gave us some reading materials and some research that we need to do and an assignment. So I don't intend to just pile those assignments and do them on a weekend. I can't do that. I can't afford to do that. So I plan on doing them either late in the evening or early morning, depending on the time of the class next day. Tonight, my class is around 8 p.m. Last night, it was around 6 p.m. So yeah, there's a lot I need to change. There's a lot I need to change in terms of my lifestyle. And I'm really, really groggy right now. I'm not really used to waking up this early. But yeah, I'm hoping I could get used to it. So I just want to also summarize the things that got discussed in my first class last night. So my first class last night was data visualization and analytics. But despite it being about data analytics and visualization, we started by discussing about the ethics of AI and why AI won't really replace humans. So I have my notes here. So I think we are around 40, 50 in our batch. Not really sure. I don't really have that number, but from what I observed during class and what I think would be people who would be watching the video asynchronously could be 40 to 50 people in our. And like I said in my previous video, one of the goals that I wanted to have here is to meet as much diverse people as possible. And first day, I already saw that we have a vast array of people joining our classes. So I even saw one who was a biochemical engineer, one who is, I think, a nuclear engineer. So if I took my master's here in the Philippines, I don't think I would have, exposed myself to people of such backgrounds. So, this is a very, very good opportunity for me to network with people that I couldn't have met otherwise. And I think that debunks the the myth that in terms of networking, online classes are or in-person classes are vastly superior to online classes like OPEP. I beg to disagree. I mean, there are pros and cons. Being able to meet people in person, of course, would accelerate the dynamic between you, the rapport. But on the other hand, the online courses like this, online programs like this, expose you to people that you couldn't meet if the classes were in person. Globally, I have classmates in Europe, in even in China, yeah, in Africa, and I was glad to see a fellow kababayan, a fellow Filipino, and hoping to connect with her. But yeah, this is really getting me pretty excited. So at the first day of class of data visualization and analytics, it was very, very fruitful, very, very insightful. Again, I said we discussed about AI, even though the class was about data, analytics and visualization. But of course, AI is nothing without data. So we tackled why AI won't really replace humans. Humans will always be there. Why? Or during the class, it was discussed that this was mainly because of trust and ownership. Especially me, I agree that AI cannot really take accountability and ownership of the outcome of what it actually generates. You need a human to to take that accountability, take the ownership of the consequences of the outcome of the task performed by AI. For you to build trust on AI, it has to perform really well, it has to be transparent, and it has to adhere to governance and to have those guardrails so that it won't generate harmful. The problem with performance and trust is it's very hard to solve. And trust in enterprise or at scale is really going to be harder. There are higher standards of reliability, higher standards of performance, and it costs of money. Agentic AI, the more agents that you have, the more or the easier it is to become untractable. You need someone, a human, to own the AI output and the accountability. So our professor gave this anecdote around a study in which it could be that, for example, a human can perform a task for a certain amount of time, for example, 2 hours, and if an AI can reduce that 2 hours to 5 minutes, it can perform that task within 5 minutes. That's well and great, right? And that's what people are now saying that, wow, AI will now replace people. AI will now replace humans because it has reduced this 2-hour task to a mere 5 minutes. But that's just part of the story. From this study, I'll try to find it. But or the larger the ratio of the reduction of time that AI can generate or can reduce, the longer the time to own things. Because, for example, okay, the task now, let's make the example concrete. Let's say programming, So to generate, for example, 2 hours of code that was generated, or written by a programmer for 2 hours was generated by AI in 5 minutes. Someone needs to come in and to review the code generated by AI. Is this secure? Is this performant? Is the syntax correct? Does it run correctly? Is it really fulfilling the requirements that was that was laid out for it? And quite often, again, according to this study, the time would that a human would need to actually examine the AI generated content and to make sure that it's solid would be probably around 3 hours. Trying to understand it, trying to make sure that everything is secure, it's performant. They would need to test it. They would need to verify it with other people. So yeah, well and good. You can reduce the time to perform a certain task, but it also adds time to actually verify that it actually did the task well, no, and correctly and securely. No, with that in mind, it doesn't really make sense to remove humans there. But it does really transform now the job of the human from actual writing of the code to verifying the code. But in terms of ROI, did it really help out? Reduce the time to actually perform that task? Considering if you started from 2 hours, then yes, that task was 5 minutes. But if it took a human to review things in 3 hours, AI generated. But still, it's not 2 hours versus 5 minutes. It's not like that. You need someone there to take that ownership, and taking ownership and accountability costs time. So that was the very, very crux of what was discussed last night. It was very insightful. And a lot of people asked questions. That was a good discussion. But yeah, I'm now going to work on my assignment, and I'll see you later. Hey, it's the weekend, Saturday evening to be exact, and I'm about to have my dinner. So, actually, my wife has been out of the country since Wednesday for a business trip. So, I've been fending for myself. It's been hard. No, I'm just joking. But I'm really not used to, you know, uh, being at home by myself. I think this is the first time that Alvia uh, has not been here for since ever, ever since we've been married. So this is new for us, but she'll be back on Monday. But yeah, it's my first week at Topit. No, the whole week was a blast. Although we didn't really um, hmm, we didn't really discuss much yet. But we also, some of the classes also dive deeper into introductory topics, but not too much. So yeah, but in general, really, really excited. I was actually expecting that the professors will be good, but I didn't expect them to be this good. And I'm not just talking about their academic accolades their expertise. It's more of the attitude, which is very refreshing to me coming from the Philippines, in which professors often have this, this air of, authority, of being standoffish. Of course, not everyone, of course, but a lot of them. I think, especially in University of the Philippines, the best school here in this country, there's this notion of making things, or making college or the academe hard just for the sake of it being hard. They call it like, academic hazing. But in this modern times, I don't believe that that's very relevant anymore, especially with AI. I mean, maybe before Gen AI came about, maybe they had uh, that right. I wouldn't say right, but something like, they have a reason to be like that, because the academe had somewhat the monopoly on knowledge. When the internet came in, that monopoly diminished, and now with I think it's almost close to being eliminated. Knowledge has been um, democratized greatly with the addition of large language models, ChatGPT, Gemini. So for professors here in the Philippines, and even maybe even other countries, to take the stance that, I'm the expert here. Well, maybe, you still are, of course, but to think that you have to have this particular temperament, or this particular facade of being, having that wall between you and students, just because you feel that you have the monopoly on knowledge, that's going to be very dangerous. And I think that could, that sort of mentality and attitude will, put you in danger of being replaced by AI. I mean, that's part of my thoughts. So going back to OPIT, I didn't sense anything like that. And it's very refreshing because I actually hear them say that they don't know everything, and that they themselves are very eager to learn from each and every student. And I don't think I've ever heard that from any professor that I've had. To give you context, I've been to 10 universities from my last count, 10 academic institutions, including universities. And I don't remember hearing that type of statement from any teacher or any professor that I've had, even the best ones. No one has ever said that they want to learn from the students, which is very, very telling of the way things are being taught here in the Philippines. And you know what's funny? Even though, they have that type of teaching, again, not everyone, okay? But most of them have this type of teaching. It's like military like approach, or boss. I'm the boss here. You are employees. Like that. Like sort of relationship or dynamic. Then in that, you can't even question the professor. Despite that, despite them thinking that that's the right way of teaching, the Philippines has the worst academic system or education, I think, in the world. One of the worst in the world, and it's deteriorating fast. That's why I'm very, very excited about topic, because the professors are they have this growth mindset that I've never seen from other professors here in the Philippines. So this is more about the learning, and in the way they structure the grading system, you would notice that the grades don't really matter as much as the things that you would learn from the program. Yes, you could, tick the boxes, get high grades, but it doesn't really matter, especially if you don't build a community, if you don't reach out to students, if you don't engage in class, you won't get the real value of the master's program just by getting high grades. I mean, they are important, of course, but they're more of an afterthought or just there just to comply with requirements. Why do I say that? Because the way they structured the grading system, and for you to actually pass, you only need to get a mark of 50%. 50 out of 100 for the whole whole course, per course. And this is across the whole program. Whatever course you take, you only have to score around 50%. Here in the Philippines, you would need, I think, 70%, 80%. But of course, they have that curve that they implement. But here, just 50%. And aside from that, they provide assignments, weekly assignments that are not graded and then are not required, and it's up to you to actually finish them. And if you do finish them, and if you complete the assignments, you get an additional 5 points or 5%. So to pass, you only need 45%. If you complete all those assignments, you now only need 45%. And then, although again, attendance is not required, you could take the classes asynchronously, watch the watch the recordings at your own time, at your own pace. But of the 13 sessions per course, if you complete or if you actively participate synchronously in 7 of those sessions, you get an additional 5 points. Subtract that again from the required 50%, which is now 45%. So subtract 5% again, and you only need 40%. Like it's they're like telling you this is not really important. We just need to assess you, right? We just need to know that somehow you learn something from the course. And I think the purpose of um, providing bonus points for attendance and participation and assignments for a total of 10% or 10 points is for you to do them. One, the assignments in which it would enring, and the attendance, of course, is for you to be there present during the synchronous classes and get value from participating in real time interaction with the class and with the professor. So, it's in terms of the academic requirements or the classes that you need to take, the courses, I wouldn't say they're easy to pass. In terms of the grade, it looks like, it's going to be easy. But in terms of the workload, like I said, right, this week was just introductory. But the amount of readings that I've been doing, I've never read this much in my career as student ever. But I'm loving it. I'm liking it. Whenever I get the time, I pick up a reading and start, highlighting, taking notes, absorbing the material. But there are many. So for you to actually get that passing mark, or even if um, you're aiming for Latin honors, it's not going to be easy in terms of the effort. But in terms of the grades, I think it's going to be a walk in the park. Just need to put um, a bit of effort to get those passing marks. But in terms of trying to extract the real value, the full value of the program, it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of effort, and which I'm trying to do today. Before I got to my dinner, I've been reading some of the uh, suggested papers on AI ethics. But for just that and the quality of the professors, I think I'm going to get my money's worth. But of course, still early, no? I think we are in what they say the honeymoon period. So we'll see. Hopefully, things actually get better, no? Not worse. But yeah, in general, I'm really, really excited about the prospects of learning from other people of other nationalities and from the professors themselves. Of course, from the readings. I've also started uh, looking for tools that could help me with my thesis because I think this is the biggest fear that I have here in the program is I've never really had solid training in writing dissertation papers. Of course, we have thesis also in college, even in my previous masters, which I didn't actually continue. But truth be told, here in the Philippines, thesis and research papers aren't really being taken seriously. So for this program, I don't want to just do that, like, have a crappy paper that doesn't really mean anything. I want to create or put out a thesis or a dissertation that could actually contribute to the field that I am interested in. And right now, I think I'm interested in actually pursuing something in AI governance or AI or ethical AI. So I want to put out a thesis that adds to the conversation. Especially maybe I've I've done a bit of initial research and there's very few research being done on AI governance here in the Philippines. And I want to add to that, maybe jumpstart conversation on AI governance here in the Philippines, which is, I don't think it's being even talked about yet. But yeah, that's the first week. That's a wrap up. Tomorrow, I'm going to attend a protest rally against corruption here in the Philippines. It's actually just, the venue is just a few blocks away here. And it's going to gather a lot of my countrymen. And hopefully, things will be safe, that no violence would start. We just want the government to be accountable for these officials who have um, stolen from the people billions of pesos. I would dare say billions of dollars. And we literally are drowning in floods because of what they're doing, or what they've done. So I'm personally angry myself, so that's why I'm participating tomorrow. But yeah, it's just one of my advocacies, good governance, transparency in government. I don't know if the rally tomorrow would change anything, but I guess, I'm hoping that it's a start of something better, a movement that actually makes things better this time. Wish me luck. tomorrow, wish me safe. Actually, when I put out this video, the rally must have uh, should have been done already. But yeah, I'll see you next week. I'm looking forward to that first. This was the first week, right? But I consider, in terms of learning, this coming week will be the first week, quote unquote. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next vlog. Bye.